I'm Rod Duff, your host.
And I'm producer Barbie.
And together,
we bring you our podcast,
Insights and Straight Talk. And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. And we're back in. So, or at least I am. Barbie had to step out. Actually, I think Barbie is on the other side there. I just went to zeros, so I hope that's not a sign. Anyway, I am, I always talk about how this show is so very exciting, creating this movement of information and details that people need to flourish within our evolving and ever-changing society. There is so much I have to have thankful for in this show, but there's things that as we're now growing and we're getting, we went forever. I remember my son told me something. We went forever for like months without having, people showed up, boom, boom, boom. It was all, it was locked up and tight and beautiful. And the episodes at that time weren't as long, and in some cases near as long, but I'm on a bad string here. I got to fix this. And it's funny, the people who do, a lot of our guests now, pay a fee just to overset, because we send out a lot of video. We send out a lot of social media advertising. We do a lot of work post-production, let's say. These are always live, and I just like live. If they're not live, you can't get the comments there. Well, you can if you go live and then record it, but I don't know. I'm just working through things, and at this point, I am in dire need of figuring out. And producer Barbie gets on me as well as one of my associates, Hemsen, gets on me about allowing no fee guest appearances, which we do almost. It varies, but almost half of that, and we've been wrestling with the no paid opens up so much more information, but the commitment rate is a little challenging. My son told me one time, man, that's all over the live streaming, the podcast, and he said, no big deal. And I didn't have it for a long time after that first one. Kind of shocked me, and then I didn't. There were no shows, so to speak, and then there's the other one when somebody cancels like 5 minutes before the start time, and my audience is going, "Hey, what's going on?" I just got a text a little bit ago, said, "Hey, we're waiting. What's going on?" So it's a shame, because it's not really a waste of our time at this point, right? Well, at least mine. I'm able to freestyle a message that one that I pick out and enjoy, because there's so many messages that our show offers, and so many exciting ways to quickly learn, like what we're talking about now. What we're talking about now is really, how is aging America going to handle the ever increasing speed at which AI, automation, robotics, that whole thing, a whole different type of currency, cryptocurrency is literally a real thing. It's at some points it's been passed off as an investment. At some points it's been passed off as a kind of a hide from the government currency that is kind of like a WhatsApp, where it's encrypted all the way around. And then there's the ability, and we're going to talk a lot about this, there is an ability now, and it's amazing how much you can receive, how much detail, how much support that you can receive to literally automate your life. I mean, you're that not live it. I mean, you're living it, but the things that are mundane and challenging or could need or could have some improvement in the way that you are currently doing. AI is not scary. This whole new Jetsons world is not scary, but you got to pay attention to it. So what we're doing, I've kind of sent some things out through social media, but what we're doing, it's still development stage, and I mentioned this a little bit ago. But what we're doing is, I've said that one 3 or 4 times now. Am I afraid to tell you what we're doing? The program that we're developing is this whole thing is about the middle class, the great middle class, and how to enlighten, engage, come together, and provide a better way of life for the great middle class, especially now as AI is just rapidly developing. Sorry, I just got somebody asking a question here. How can leaders access if their team is truly ready for if their team is truly ready for change? Access. Clive, can you verify or not verify? Can you kind of restate that? I'm going to say what I think it is, but it's either how can leaders access if their team isn't truly ready for change? That's one. Or it's how can leaders access if they're to make them or to empower them to be prepared for change. I think it's the first one, but I mean, realistically, buy-in. That's why we have conversations and not interviews, because it's about buy-in. Human beings are intelligent. The brain is a phenomenal muscle, but it's a phenomenal computer. AI, for all that it is, our human experiences in awe of it, blown away, and can really get a lot of fruitful benefits out of it. But the brain is, AI didn't even come close. It's the best source. It is the best source for reaching out, grabbing information, all according to an algorithm or 2 or 4 or 5. It's a little warm today. Yes, I'm wiring. Anyway, they're going out and grabbing that information and being able to do what your request is as per the information they've been able to pull together from the world, digital world, and do it for you. So what we're coming back to our aging middle class groups. I mean, this is a huge, powerful group, and we start at one age, and we go at all the way through the ages. And there's only 1% who's 1%ers. So this is critically important. And I'm going to say this story again. When I first started talking about this subject, I talked about, excuse me, thank you. I talked about, I got to catch up. I'll finish this soon and see if we can catch up to some of these others. But it's vitally important that aging Americans of today don't have the devastation, don't have the isolation, the depression that people who look like me back in the 80s or 90s, when all the networking came in and digital came in and video games and digital mobile phones and whole new sets of crazy ass awesome TVs that kiss your ring finger for you if you want them to. I mean, the people of our generation, no, that's not the, our generation are now in a position where our parents' generation, let's say, was in when all that started. And I mean, there's huge, I mean, you know it, there was people, our mothers and our grandmothers and grandfathers and uncles and so on, that we were constantly trying to help them out through this. And there was a lot of depression, frustration, feeling inadequate, being shut off from society. Now, assuming you believe that what I just said is true, which it is, you could see it. But assuming that, imagine the speed and the acceleration. I know they're the same things, but I'm just enforcing it. The speed and acceleration and dominance of digital technology, AI, crypto, on and on and on, of which that is now already a thing, as I said earlier, but it's now going to be the only thing. It'd be like comparing the people in wagon trains coming across the country to settle our country in, compared to, I'm going to be generous here, the 1950s, where technology was really building and our lives were at another level that those settlers could even relate to. So, and maybe even that on steroids, because we have two choices as aging Americans: kind of do a little work and get involved. And that's a program we're starting. And we are we're just, like I said, still developing it, but stay tuned, because that's, to me, as much as insights and straight talk mean to our mission and me and you and the guests, this topic is really currently needed, because I and we are all old. Those are my two pronouns, I and we. Hey, I like that. So sorry, I hope nobody gets mad about that. Anyway, let me get to a couple of these questions. The whole board is full. And Clive, I hope I answered your question. It's all about buy-in. It's about empowering. It's about, first of all, it's about putting a team together around you that is on the same page, that has the same vibe, that has the same goal and mission as you do. That's, when you get that, then you just start having people buy in on what you want, what you need for whatever it is you're doing together to succeed. Okay. Let me know, Clive, if that was dialed in or not. What are the biggest misconceptions leaders have about executing changes? That they're just stupid and haven't been involved in the process, so don't really know what they're talking about, and just forcing us to do something they want to do. That, I mean, that happens. What is the biggest misconceptions leaders have about executing change? Yeah, people not buying into it, people that you're responsible for leading either don't wrap up with you, or you need a vibe that creates an energy around the whole body, not just the United States of American middle class, but all the way through to a group of individuals that are led and directed and branch off and do the building. The people who are actually the backbone of this great American nation. So leaders are critical. but so are the support structures that create the vision that the leaders have. Now, the leaders got to have a good vision and be able to not sell it, but have their people, their folks, their friends, their employees, their neighbors, their family buy in on it. So that's kind of some of the misconceptions, because it doesn't come outward in for a leader. It comes inward out. And it, I think one of the biggest misconceptions, if not for a leader that is struggling with this, is what I just said. It's not about me, the leader. It's not about, hey, I have a vision. You gotta deal with it if you're going to work here. That approach versus, I got a vision. This company is drastically in need of your kind of talent, of your kind of ability, and to use towards this vision. Can you see yourself working that vision within this company and between us? That's kind of a challenge that, I mean, not exactly that, or however you do it, but that message, that concept is a challenge for successful leadership. That's when you get it right there. All right. Oh, wait. Thanks, Faz. Appreciate it, man. Keep coming back. You guys hit like and subscribe. We're really starting to get people now excited about this movement. But beyond that, people are now realizing the excellent messaging that each of our guests bring, our professional guests. How do you differentiate between temporary resistance and deeper cultural? You got to know who your folks are. You can't be a leader without being involved. Not. There's this saying that Barbie used to say years and years and years ago, and I, for some reason, have taken it on. Don't get all up in their Kool-Aid, but definitely, use the skills that you have. We talk about being able to relate to other people and build conversations. You've got to be able to lead through knowledge of who the people you're leading are. Make sense? So temporary resistance and not buying in, or cultural issues, are easily uncovered when you look at it from that. And everything in it, certainly in my life and in everybody's life, comes to them. This is different now, not the other thing. Comes to them. Life comes to them like an athlete. It all slows down for them, because when you're curious about something and not being judgmental, you're curious. There's a big difference there. Roger Kipling, one of his more famous poems, has that message. But anyway, if you're curious, then you learn and you gain knowledge. If you're just judging things, you're shutting yourself off to probably 90% of the world, because if you're shutting yourself off at that doesn't relate to the empowerment, improvement, and growth of the great middle class. So I hope that my 2 cents there, Jim, help out. If you want me to expand on that, give another quote in. And remember, guys, the comments, make comments. I appreciate them here. Make them out on the after the description. There's the remark, comments. after the show is aired. How long have I been on? Holy cow! I was only coming in a couple of minutes, but so what else? We're on the verge with AI to. I use the word utopia. I hope that doesn't sound fanciful, but everybody knows what you're talking about when you say the word. So whatever that definition actually is, we have a big choice coming up, and not in decades or generations. Some years, either we're going to run our lives better and increase our pleasure, knowledge, and human experience, the quality of our life by thousands of times, or society that is doing that runs us over. I'm not purposely. Don't make that too much of an image. Can you imagine, 80-year-old, gray and coming down in the car, runs them over. But I mean, that's kind of strong imagery, but I mean, right? I mean, that's we have that choice. Now, here's the thing. Aging Americans, including me, of which I very am much one of, started getting intimidated because holy crap, how do you do that? And other people were doing things at a speed that was, one, they seemed happier. And I forgot to turn that around. I hope I can coming across good. But one, they can accomplish things faster with more time. The old days, we were promised that computers will make society and life completely easy and free up so much time for the great middle class. And what it actually did is connected the ability, it created an ability to deliver and receive information very quickly. So it actually it created ways for us to do more work in less amount of time, thus getting more work in. So that was the sell. I think, if I remember the World's Fair, I think the last World's Fair that, like in the 50s, predicted this, and the whole prediction was about life becoming a utopia, and it was absolutely the opposite. Now, I mean, put it all together. Look at what they were talking about. Computers. Okay, we don't know much about that, so maybe that will just improve our life. We're not talking about just internet and the internet's going to change. Seriously, the ability to receive and give information in real time is coming to a phenomenal age. So we're going to have a utopia with robots doing our work in every house. Remember, they used to say a car in every garage. There's going to be a robot in every house, and there's way better than that. I mean, that's cool, but way better than that, there's going to be simple methods that help you create the knowledge of how to do it. There are simple programs, apps, things that are out that I've been starting to utilize. Thank you very much, my son, Brandon Duff, and your lovely wife, Lauren, and my fairly new little Maddie. So anyway, thank you, because instead of him at a point, he said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's some information. Start learning it. We'll get back to he kind of, he taught me in a class, do your work first, then I'll come back and check it and fix it and end up doing as much as I can in it to make it as valuable as you need it. So that's what we're doing. We're passing that forward. And here's what we're doing. We're passing all that information forward and teaching how, in very simple and easy ways, with this kind of language right here. This shows language. We're gonna have, watch parties. That's going to be a name you're going to start hearing more of, I believe. We're going to have watch parties that focus on, in this case, that subject. Aging Americans coming in and saying, "Hey, I heard what you said, but man, I'm really concerned about. I have no idea how to do any of this stuff." And here's the thing: when you go in and you check it out and start learning and listening to videos and stuff, oh my God, it's like, okay, I got to be in Germany next week. I need to know it fluently. I mean, literally speaking a completely different language, and that's it. That's frustrating. That's humiliating to a degree, and it's intimidating because at some point you're looking at life coming at you now, and you don't know how to handle that. And all I'm talking about is the speed of growth and influence and communication and technology that our society is experiencing. And we're here. This is I'm Rod Duff, your host of Insights and Straight Talk. And I'm sure in that hey, great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming on. I'm going to answer some more questions, but I know producer Barbie's out there. Hopefully she gives a shout out. Let's see. I've got about half a dozen more questions. Besides these, unless there's other questions, I'll pop back out and start on my productions and my sales and marketing kind of stuff. We're just a couple of people here. And that's not ooh, poor me. We're just a couple of people here, and we're really excited to still be here doing this and providing what the great class, the great middle class, the great backbone of this great nation. And by extension, we are the reason the world is even here anymore. I mean, think about the influence that America has now, and think about if others could have had that influence on world events. And there's a constant struggle doing it. I mean, as bad as we get here in the U.S., we need to get better here at our politics, and that's on us. We need to get better people in positions to manage the things we want them to, not the things, I'm elected because I said all this cool stuff that you guys thought would help your lives out. And then I don't do any of it. I do something totally different because I get money doing the other thing. That's got to stop. And that's got to stop immediately. And it's only going to stop. Now, I'm trust and verify. I love what's happening with the new administration, and the people that are in that administration are night and day compared to the last one. If you don't agree, I get it. But let me get back to the questions here. I was getting thirsty. Okay, so Jim, thanks a lot. Jim Carrey. Hey, Jim Carrey. God, wouldn't that be cool if that was actually, I'm sorry. Wouldn't that be cool if that was the actor, Jim Carrey? All right, so Tobias Engel, how do you help leaders stay resilient during prolonged periods of uncertainty? That's a good one. That's a tough one. Leaders stay resilient. Yeah, that's a vision thing. You need, and I know a lot of you people came on here. I mean, everybody came on looking forward to hearing the advice of Dr. Mary Lippitt. She's a world renowned expert in the areas of leadership, communication, buy-in. I mean, there's a couple of things. Hold on, let me get to that. I had set aside for the introduction. I was going to actually do a good job if I could. Mary, come on, Mary. And There's a lot like that, the leadership and all that. Favorite subjects are levers of successful executive change. I've been reading that wrong. But here's the thing. Critical thinking, it's critical, right? Critical thinking is critical. What are 6 ways to analyze current reality? Let that sink in a second. And 6 different ways that the human brain can analyze the current reality. What that means is that you're living your life, you're experiencing your human existence, and that is the most beautiful way to start growing again in your life, no matter where you are. But when you start looking at ways to currently identify your reality, I mean, that's a cool way to put it, but it's also a very awesome and powerful thing. How to influence up the chain of command. And we've been going through that. Some of these questions have been asking how leadership does this. And the really important thing is, how do you get people to want, what was the word again? Want to influence up the chain of command. In my opinion, you should only and always hire people that you want to take your place, or that kind of saying. You want people that are intelligent, devoted, and organized, and their skill set, whatever that may be, because there's a lot to raise a village, right? But on top of all that, the primary candidate should be somebody who gets you, that respects you, that and none of that meaning bad, that they're coming in and going, wow, I like the way this company is operating, or the way this company plans on going forward. Boom, you got a buy-in. And now the things that need to be done, for instance, is you need to enable your employees, or the people that support the company, because you're supporting it, but you've created a vision that you're driving. You're keeping a spotlight of a vision that you're driving the team towards. If you get that buy-in, you're golden. You're solid. An easy way to do that as a leader. I'm not a leader. I was trying to do this, but my hand even said no. Is the simple question. Somebody walks into your office. Maybe that person's walked in a couple of times on different challenges they're having to complete this assignment, this task, this whatever. So at one point you listen intently. I mean, this is your team, and you're curious about it. And that person says, how do you want me to go through? What steps do you want me to complete? How many more steps or whatever to finish this program, to finish this thing that is my responsibility to do? So that question comes to you as a leader. Here's an opportunity. Here's the empowerment and potentially a learning, teaching experience moment. So that question comes to you, and the person's, and you look and say, if I wasn't here, how would you handle that? And then wait within their uncomfortable pause as their mind starts racing, or maybe not. So you're going to get one of two answers. You're going to get, well, technically 3. One that's perfect, excellent, Yeah, do it. 2, it's wrong. We need to talk about this. Or 3, with a little bit of tweak, you're good. The reason I say that, if that never occurs between your team and yourself, you're all, and I'm guilty of this. Oh my God. If you're doing their jobs, one, you're wasting time and money, but more importantly, why are they there? Well, why? I mean, they're there to push your vision forward, right? So, if there's prolonged levels of uncertainty, then that means you're moving ahead. You're growing. If you're certain, literally certain about every day and every situation that you deal with in a day, you're not growing. So always challenge yourself there, Tobias. I appreciate the question. Sam, how do you coach leaders who are stuck in old ways of thinking? Hey, that's easy. The question, Sam, the question back to the people stuck in the old way of thinking is, how are your results going? I mean, talk to me about your numbers and your results. They're leader number 1, leader person. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. How are your results going? Okay. How do you think? Are you happy with those results? Okay. Do you think more can develop in results from the leadership and vision you provide? Excellent. Okay. So that conversation starts to now. The results are easier or more difficult depending on that person who has only old ways of thinking. I put out a video yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. No, it wasn't yesterday. It was Friday or Saturday, I think. And I entitled it, "This Old Dog is Learning New Tricks." So if this leader in old thinking isn't willing to learn new tricks, one, they're not going to change. And realistically, they're not going to continue leading anybody. So anyway, you need, as a person, as somebody with your skill sets and talents, you need to be a person who is able to guide the future, light the path, and then stand with the light, let them go. Anyway, next is Sam. Great question. Thank you so much. Ryan Wiley. I think he was. Now, I think I am familiar with this guy, but anyway, how do you measure success in implementing mindset shifts? It's a good one. Oh, okay. I'm getting a tough one here. The other ones, I'm not Dr. Mary Lippitt, but I'm working on these things, man. Here, how do you measure success in implementing mindset shifts? Results. I mean, that's an excellent question. And again, there's deeper answers to every one of your questions that are and exist, and that an expert can give you. And you've heard me saying I know a lot about a few things, a little bit of things, and I know a little about a whole bunch of things. So I can scratch the surface for sure. I know that's something we don't like here, but I can scratch the surface. And Mary, at some point, hopefully, I hope everything's okay with her. At some point, doctor, by the way, is able to come back and take these thoughts and conversations and what we're discussing back and forth to a more to a deeper level, so that I can then add some color, and it's always fun to do. So you're implementing mindset, your success on mindset shifts. That's a good one. That takes somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. But what I would say is, again, results and reading the person's body language. I am an extremely curious person. Let me give you a little bit of history. I'll answer that mindset shifts through it. And then we got 3 more questions. I'm going to go through a little story I love very much because it's me. Sorry. No, because growing up, probably a lot of you anyway have heard this story, but growing up, I grew up in a Marine Corps, a military family. My father was a lifetime military, did 3 tours in Nam. I mean, he was hardcore and awesome. But that in one way was challenging because I went to 9 different elementary schools, 3 different high schools, and several different, not countries, but definitely a number of states from east to west coast and from north to south, all the way. States all within that. Not everyone, but I've been to every state in the Union, everyone. I lived in Alaska. My sister was born in Hawaii. My parents lived in Guam. I lived with so there was a lot going on in that. And how you handle it is how you grow or what success or failure you have from it. So I knew very early on that it was important, at least for me, to be able to read the audience. Cher talked about this. Actually, I'm going to steal that a little bit from you, Cher. She was on, remember she was born in Lebanon, went through a horrific childhood, and their family was finally able to escape. You know, the Shah of Iran, the whole war thing going on. I mean, just imagine. But she talked about this as well, where you have to communicate, you have to read the audience, and you have to be able to see. And there is a point. I mean, police officers do this all the time in interrogations, but even to a deeper level, I use this throughout my life and have literally, and it's not a secret thing. It's just when I say that, it's like a muscle. You gotta work on it. And I openly and actively, because I lived in constant fear of not being liked or not being accepted. All growing up, and it was a horrible influence on my life. It was my issue, but it was a horrible way to live life because I was constantly needing to be the right thing for them at that moment. It was my growing up was a chore, and don't get me wrong. Looking back, I could have never asked for anything different at how I handled my anxieties at that pace. Now, unfortunately, you get a little lazy with it, and you become something that's maybe not as authentic as you should be, and that's something I've just now learned. So, having those abilities to read who it is that you're needing to interact with on this item or that item is the key to understanding and measuring the success rates of the information being received by you. Ryan, great question. Boy, that was a challenge. I hope that wasn't just a whole word salad, as that phrase has gotten popular recently. But anyway, I hope that wasn't a whole just I believe what I said is correct, and kind of how I live my life. I literally read people. I constantly ask questions. I constantly then evaluate their shifts in body, their looks, you can tell, are they just processing that? Are they, oh shit, they don't like that? Or, being able to ask questions that get you from one position to deeper and more personal conversations. And I don't mean personal, but deeper. This is business we're talking about here. Personal is I trust you, I respect what you're doing, and I want to do business with you. That's personal when you're that with a customer, and back and forth. That's how you determine success or not, is how much you're receiving, and you can only receive as much as you know. So it's got to be worked at. But how much are you receiving from, let's call it a vibe, from the person that you're asking about? Ryan, that was a great question. If there was more that you wanted me to cover in that, I'm all over it. But I think the key, and you know what, the key to everything is reading the situation. Like Cher said, read the room. And that way you're able to influence others in a way that's fair and legit and nice and kind, and also advanced over everybody else, which is a good thing. So Ryan, thank you again. And Rot Jr. All right, Rot Jr. You look like a big, handsome young man there. What's your advice for leaders who need to inspire change without formal authority? You don't need formal authority. No, come on. Think about this. If you're a born leader, a natural, born leaders don't really exist, but the effects of their early growing, their early development, amplify one way or the other. So, advice for leaders who need to inspire change without formal authority. As I said, if you're a leader, people are drawn to you. I mean, if you're not a leader, you're looking for somebody who you're drawn to. But leaders, good leaders, I mean, real leaders, not just powerful people, that's not the same thing. But true leaders are like the light bulb on the back porch attracting moths. Now, I don't mean that as a comment like a deplorables comment that we all know that at least one of our elected officials from the past called us all. It's crazy. But how can you lead people or attract people or inspire people? Great word, by the way. When you don't have the authority to do so, be the ones that make things happen in the right direction. If you win well, win with discussion and joy, and conservative joy, and lessons learned to be able to grow more. If you don't win, it's a learning lesson, man. That starts attracting people because it's common sense. It's supportive, not rejective. If that's a real word. So, Rot, I think I think I got you there. Rot, again, maybe I didn't get you. Let me see. What is it? How do you maintain momentum once the change process begins? Repeating it. I mean, If it starts the process, if the process of change is starting to get bought in on, dude, go with your flow. Keep moving. And trust that it's working and constantly verify that it's working. For those who remember Ronald Reagan, one of my favorite sayings, trust but verify. So that's kind of how you keep the process going along. Looks like our last question here is by Richens. So I'm going to sit in the moment and just really, you know what? I was very disappointed today when I found out after I sat down and sat for 15 minutes that it was going to be a day without a guest. And I learned so much from these conversations and these comments all day long. But I think I learned a lot from the audience today and in the questions you're asking, because it makes me realize and gives me some sort of ability to go into my own knowledge base and as best support the comments that are being said on the screen. So with that said, let me get to the last one here. Great video. Cool. Thanks, man. Richens, you're awesome. You are my favorite person right now. How can leaders balance critical thinking with quick decision making in a crisis? No, I'm just kidding. Experience helps. I talked about this earlier. The more you know a subject, or the more you know your environment, or the material, on and on and on. It's like an athlete. I mean, everybody's this way, but people most hear it about, let's say, an athlete. When an athlete's up there and they said, "Hey, look at these stats. You look at how do you explain this growth?" And to a player, to a point, how that happens is with experience and seeing the same situations evolve, gives you the ability of the sport in this case, coming to you in such a slower, the world now comes to you and the whole world slows down and you're moving at now ahead of the pack. All right. I hope that was useful for everybody. I'm very excited about the growth of this program. We're actually receiving very positive input from many people. And surprising to me, we're getting some really cool input from other podcasts or shows or whatever you want to call these, because of the approach. They respect it, they like it, and people are buying in. So, like the videos, subscribe. What's the other question you're supposed to ask, you guys? And tell your friends. And as I always say, go say hi to somebody. Go wave at somebody that maybe you don't know. Or there was this older aging American that was coming out of a store, and I was walking in and the wind was going, we're in Chicago. So there's very little good weather. But she was all bundled up and she's walking out as I'm walking in. I said, "Oh man, you look all bundled up there." And she goes, "Yeah, this wind." I said, "Have a great day." Nothing more than that. But you know what? That was a little bit of contact, human connection, that maybe she wasn't expecting. I can tell you anything if it's that kind of connection, or telling somebody, "Hey, as you're walking by, you know what, your hair looks great. Or what I love to do, especially, I like cars. I'm a guy, I like cars. I just like them, you know. I like to drive them. I love driving. But anyway, you see a really cool car and dude, hey, man, I love that car. And you know, that's just, they have it that way because they believe that vibe, that feeling, that opinion. And when they get it reinforced, it's always something. And I'm Rod Duff, your host, and taking all my strength and knowledge and focus from the very gifted producer Barbie. And with that, I am out. What the hell?
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.